Please subscribe and don't forget to press the bell icon to get notified whenever we upload a new video.
All right, good morning. Welcome to Chartbusters. Well, this is the show where we'll highlight all the buzzing stocks of the day. As we speak, it's been a good Friday morning. The Nifty is sitting with a gain of around 75 points, moving back towards that 11,500 level. Remember, the all-time high is somewhere around those levels, and the maximum open interest is at around 11,500 call. Mangalam as well has been telling us all about that. Well, Mangalam, good start for the Bulls. Let's see whether or not they can build on from here.
Absolutely. Good start for the Bulls, and let's see whether they can build on from here or not. Usually on Fridays, we speak about all of those sin stocks which are moving, but this time looks like, a lot of people are staying in on Friday. Also, there was a holiday midweek, so have people called in sick because the pharmaceutical stocks, all of them are higher. The likes of Lupin, Dr. Reddy's, all of them up by almost 9-10% from the start of this week.
Yeah, and then the DI participation will be lower today.
That's true.
One is because, the nation is mourning the death of ex-Prime Minister Atal Bihari Vajpayee. And also we have a clearing holiday. That's banks are shut, so clearing doesn't take place today. So on the back of both those two factors, the DI participation should be relatively lower. We'll get that confirmation by the end of today. But I think the volumes as well, keep tracking it. As we speak, around 10,000 crores in total on the BSE as well as the NSE. We'll have to keep an eye out on that one, Mangala.
Absolutely. And, the big fear that was yesterday, further weakening of the rupee and all of that, that fear is postponed to Monday. So that is something that we will watch out for.
And also the dollar index did cool off a tad bit overnight. So, the rupee doesn't have such a big challenge, at least as of now. Maybe in the evening, the dollar suddenly says, I want to get very powerful and move towards that 97 mark and all. Then the rupee is, in for a tough fight on Monday. But for the time being, let's go through the headlines and let's wait for Monday and see.
Yeah, we will say what happens on Monday, but you take the dollar point, we take that forward with the metal stocks. Actually, they are shining in trade today as the dollar index eases from highs, and we're seeing some green out there.
And keep an eye out on Jet Airways. The board will meet on August 27th to announce their Q1 numbers. The net loss is expected to continue, with yields to remain under some pressure due to competition.
GMR Infra, that one gains. Sources tell CNBC-TV18 that the company settles dispute with PE investors of GMR Airports for about 4,800 crore rupees. The dispute settlement clears the deck for GMR Airports IPO.
Okay, all right. Let's take a quick check on some of those mid-cap stocks. The mid-cap index is doing a relative outperformance even today. Yesterday as well, it ended more or less flattish when the Nifty ended with a cut of close to around 50 points odd. So the advance decline ratio should come up for you. You have nearly 3 stocks that are advancing for just 1 stock that's declining. And if you're looking at the, some of these stocks that are bouncing back, you have JSPL. That's seen a sharp correction. That stock is bouncing back up today. Torrent Farmer as well is doing quite well. But what's not really doing very, very well is Raymond. It seems to have lost its way. Now the stock is moving towards 750 odd. I remember at around 1,000, 1,100, there was so much of excitement on the stock. Now, in fact, it's moving lower as we speak. It's moved to the low point of the day. And keep in mind, this year to date itself, the stock has already lost close to around 25% of its market capitalization. So it's a strong market out there, but on Raymond, it appears there is some selling pressure. But let's find out, how do you trade the Nifty from here? We're already at the high point of the day. We're up 80 points odd. Ashwini Gujral's with us. Ashwini, what do you do right now? Have you missed the bus? If you didn't take that morning buy call, would you wait buy? And if you're going to wait buy to buy the Nifty, then what level should investors look to get in?
See, for the last 3 sessions, we've been in this range of 11,375 to about 11,470 thereabouts on the Nifty futures. Now, it looks like that the market wants to expand on the upside. In the morning, we took a short trade just to see if the upper boundary is respected and the market comes off sharply. That hasn't happened. Bank Nifty is now trading above previous 3-day highs. So even there, we are seeing some sort of expansion. And the 2 problem areas of Bank Nifty, which is Kotak Mahindra and HDFC Bank, are today behaving themselves. So it may be that the market is planning to expand on the upside. So hence we've covered our shorts and are now long on individual private banks as well as Bank Nifty. So this hanging around 11,470 means that the market is absorbing selling even at higher levels. So that way, in case 11,500 starts to get taken out, then you should have a fairly strong short covering rally, and the indications are there, like slowly the market is moving higher. But that is a trade we should take after 3 range-bound sessions. There's a possibility that the market starts to expand on the upside. Now you have Oro Pharma, that's a buy with a stop of 650, target of 675. Kotak is a buy with a stop of 1250, target of 1300. And Titan is a buy with a stop of 920, target of 955.
All right, Ashwini, you seem fairly positive about the markets. So on the index, both the Nifty as well as the Nifty Bank, along with today's low as a stop, perhaps?
I think that should work because since we've not retraced from the last 3-day high, it looks like market seems to be in a mood to show some expansion, and that should surprise a few people at 11,500, and then you'll see we could have a strong move beyond 11,500 also, because the expectation was 11,250, 270, but something else seems to be happening here.
All right, Ashwini, thanks a lot for that. We will keep coming back to you all through the remainder of the day, but just keep an eye out on the markets. It's a double century for the mid-cap index at the high point of the day. Taking it higher are a couple of these stocks. We have the likes of PEML, which has moved to the high point of the day, and TV18 broadcast, of course, with the standard disclaimer. That one too has moved higher by about 3%, 3.5% as we speak. But we will talk about the rupee. The rupee has been under pressure recently with a knock-on effect on India's current account deficit. Earlier today, we spoke with Samiran Chakraborty, the chief economist of Citi, to get his sense of what he makes of the rupee fall, as well as what he thinks the MPC's or the Monetary Policy Committee's next plan of action could be. Listen in.
Components of trade deficit, which are imports rather, which are increasing, is quite wide-based. It's in consumer goods sector like electronics. It's also in capital goods sectors like machinery and transport equipment, etc. So everywhere almost we are seeing a significant uptick in import demand. Run rate of about $17.5 billion of monthly trade deficit from here. Then we will probably reach about $88 billion of current account deficit for the full year, despite service exports being much better than what we had anticipated, and we had upped the numbers on that front as well. So 88 billion will be roughly about 3.2% of GDP. We have penciled in another 25 to 50 basis point rate hike in the latter part of the year to mainly accommodate the view that is coming from the MPC that they're very keen to get to that 4% mark. We are baking in 25 to 50 basis point of more rate hikes at this juncture. Not so much because of the currency defense, but more because of inflation. The trade deficit shock has spooked the investors a bit on INR. So we will have to see the next couple of prints on this. There is also the expectation that as oil prices have cooled off a bit, that should start showing up in the trade deficit numbers. If that happens, then possibly it's all good. The other thing that people are observing is the fiscal deficit trends in India. So if we don't see any significant slippage over the next few months, then the worry on both trade and fiscal front will be lower, and that can cool off the pressure on the currency. But otherwise, we see the trading range now settling around 69 to 72.
Chartbusters, the stock that has been busting the charts for the last 1 month has been IOL Chemicals. This is on the back of a strong Q1. Also, the prices that we're seeing in ibuprofen. In fact, as we speak, the stock is at the high point of the day, but just 1 month chart, that should tell you the story, up about 31%. In the first quarter, their EBITDA rose by 52%, sales rose by 55%. Is that sustainable? What is the trigger for the company going forward? We have the man at the helm, Mr. Vijay Garg, the joint MD at IOL Chemicals, on the phone line. Thanks a lot, Mr. Garg, for joining in. First up, you know, your first quarter results were good. We will talk about the sustainability of that going forward. But in the meanwhile, if you could tell us, what exactly are the ibuprofen prices like right now? How much does that contribute to your revenue? And are these prices likely to sustain?
Yeah, the price increase is around 20 to 30%. 20% price increase is in Indian market, whereas in international market prices has gone up by 30%. So in first quarter, visibly we can see that coming in our profitability. The profitability in ibuprofen has increased because of the ibuprofen price increase in the market. As far as sustainability is concerned, yes, these prices are sustainable because the demand was with supply. There is a big gap because of some pollution issues in China, coupled with some problem in the manufacturing sites at US. So this has increased the demand. Even demand is also increasing as far as ibuprofen consumption is concerned.
Okay.
So there is a shortage of ibuprofen in the market. The sustainability, what we foresee is that ibuprofen capacity enhancement announced by BASF US. That plant, they are coming up in 2021.
Okay. All right.
So till then, we don't foresee that this demand-supply gap will be filled up by anybody.
Okay, all right. Mr. Garg, give us a few details then. You said that, there was some shutdown in China, so that's one of the reasons that ibuprofen prices have gone up. So you believe that this is sustainable because the next capacity comes on stream in 2020. Give us a few more details. Pharma constitutes nearly around 55% of your total revenues, right? So ibuprofen, how much does it contribute out of that 55%? And more importantly, raw material prices as well have gone up, but you are backward integrated, right? So that doesn't affect you?
Yeah. That is very effective. For us, the raw material prices are just stable.
Okay.
For IUL, there is no increase, maybe because of the petrochemical increase. The increase may be just 2 to 3% as far as raw material of ibuprofen is concerned, applicable to IUL.
Okay.
So that has given a real input to profits because of our backward integration.
And ibuprofen contributes how much to your total pharma business? 70, 80%, 90%?
90%. As of today, it is 90%. But since we have launched new products, going forward, it may, my ibuprofen will also increase, so it will remain 90% only.
So, what exactly is your total capacity right now and the capacity utilization?
Capacity right now, we were operating our plants at 72,000 tons per annum last year. So now my capacity has increased up to 10,000 tons. So effectively, if you can see, I am producing 850 tons. So quarterly, 2,500 tons per quarter is my capacity, which is 100% utilized today.
100%. So the additional capacity you're saying has been totally utilized? 70?
Totally utilized, yes.
Okay. All right.
Mr. Garg, then in that case, you've increased your capacity by around 40 odd percent. Add to that, you're saying that prices are higher by about 20% in domestic and 30% in the export markets. Your export is around 40% of your sales. So does that mean we see 60% plus growth going forward on the back of increased capacity in this year and higher prices?
No, not 60%. It will not come in number because if you see, because of my new product launches, the overall profitability as a company may not be that. But yes, speaking about ibuprofen, the enhancement of profits will be 30%.
Okay, all right. Give us some guidance for this year. If I look at it, the first half of the year or the first quarter, you have done around 14 crores. In last entire year, you did 28 to around 30 crores. So what kind of a profit number can we look at for this year? And in terms of a top line, what kind of a top line growth can we look at? And chemicals business has turned around. You expect it to stay in profit, or is there a possibility of it slipping back into the red?
No. Chemical business, our chemical business now is stable. So as far in chemical also, we have done some capacity enhancement. So now it will not slip back to red again. It will be in positive. Even in ethyl acetate, the prices has gone up because of some shutdowns in Europe. Though we are not into the European market, but our competitors, they are selling their products in the European market. So domestically, we have seen that increase.
So Mr. Garg, we are running a little short on time. Short point, you believe that the chemicals business will continue to remain in profit, right? Okay, all right. And give us some guidance for this year. In the first quarter, you have given a 50% growth approximately on the top line. What's the realistic number we can look at for this year in terms of a revenue and profit? For the first quarter, you did 14 crores. Should we analyze that number? Can you do 50-60 crores in terms of net profit for?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Nigel, definitely, because my growth, I'm quite hopeful that this year we will touch a number of 1,500 crore at least.
Mr. Garg, you know, the street likes what you're saying, you know, in terms of your revenue as well as profitability guidance. The stock is at the high point of the day after rising about 30% in the previous month as well. So let's talk about your exports. How much does that account for in your total sales? And with the rupee at 70, or rather the dollar at 70, do you think there is case for further expansion, or do you just hedge your currency?
No, we are not hedging our currency because we are mostly dependent. Our export revenue is much more than our purchases. So we are not hedging the currency. So currency increase is further adding to our profits.
Okay, all right, Mr. Garg. You'll have to deliver those numbers. The stock has seen a big run. In the last 12 months, I think what that chart told us is your stock is up more than 80%. And in the last 1 month, the stock is up nearly around 30%. So the street is counting on you delivering those numbers. Short point, we have seen that in fact ibuprofen prices have gone through the roof, and it's likely to sustain is what the management is telling us.
All right, so we will see whether you know, the word meets the action or not. With that, we'll simply have a short break, come back. Another company, Reliance Retail, has shown tremendous growth lately. On the other side, we'll get you an excerpt of our conversation with the CEO of
Reliance Retail has shown tremendous growth lately and has plans to further gain scale going ahead. Mangalam Malu caught up with the CEO of Reliance Retail, Damodar Mal, and discussed the company's growth and IPO plans.
We thought it was the brick and mortar, then it became click, and now it looks like it's click and mortar. So omni-channel is the way to go?
In the post-Jio era, anybody shopping at a supermarket, the definition of customer is a human being and a smartphone, never separated.
Okay.
Now, when we imagine customer as this entity, which is a human and a smartphone fused always, it opens up possibilities like the customer can ping my store and say, I'm going to come and shop half an hour later. The store knows things that she normally buys and can suggest those things to her. And she can say, yeah, I'm on the way, but yeah, just keep my trolley ready with these 6 items, and then I will start shopping. I think we have only started imagining the possibilities that will unfold as we go along.
Does real estate limit the expansion of a supermarket?
No, there is frenzy when there is hyper expansion, demand supply mismatch when it happens. But these are also markets, and equilibrium happens. I think it's an equilibrium which has got established. People have made their mistakes, but on the whole, we are now.
So what do you think is a better model? Is it owning the land that you have your store on, or is it leasing the land that you have your store on?
I would say both, and we at Reliance Retail do a mix of these. When you lease, it gives you flexibility and speed. When you own, it gives you stability, but it anchors you to your mistakes, which are difficult to get out of.
What I'm trying to understand is, from Reliance's perspective, of course, yes, and from also the perspective of, say, something like a D-Mart and Future Retail. D-Mart is someone who's at one end of the extreme. The other one is Future Retail, which has most of its stores which are leased.
I don't find merit in being dogmatic about one way or the other.
Okay.
I think the catchment, the opportunity.
What's the mix in Reliance right now?
It's a fair mix. About a third of our stores are owned or in our things. I think so. The bigger stores we tend to do a mix.